times this year that we have walked up one linebacker into the line of scrimmage. We actually moved away from that last week. So if you study the game, you watch the game last week, there was a few times in base defense, there were not even a few, probably a couple times in base defense they were walked up. Now third down and when you're doing some exotic blitzes and things, we're going to have them walked up. We always have. You get in the gaps and most teams do that. But it's more first and second down, base defense, where we've done some things. Now there's a lot of positives that can come out of that if you can get good at it. The main one being getting double teams off your defensive line, like instantly. But it's not something that our guys, we thought as we went through the season we would get more and more comfortable with it. That hasn't been the case. So Saturday, we really limited it and picked our spots to do it, to times that, the play set up perfectly to do that. And we'll probably continue to do that. But, if it was, again, if there's one issue, and I understand it, when you struggle, people want to be able to say, that's the reason, let's go. Well, there's no one reason. The truth of the matter is that we're actually making progress in all areas. There's some things that I wish we'd make it faster. But when you watch the game and really evaluate it, there's a lot of good plays, a lot of 0-yard gains, negative gains, sacks. We're giving up big plays still. And whether it's after TCU or it's middle of the season or it's after Saturday's game, those big plays have been, and whether the big plays were we gave up a big play or we're off the field on third down like we were 3 times Saturday night and we make a penalty, that's a turnover. Like if you really think about it, you're off the field, you're getting the ball back. Oh no, we're not, we're back out. So when you're watching the video and okay, there's the third down play, we're off, and now we start 15 yards ahead, but they got the ball again. And we never got the ball back. To me, that's a turnover. So those mistakes are really critical. But there is no one thing. It's not the linebackers up, it's not safety play, and all the things that can be talked about. It's a combination of them all. And I do feel like, though, being around these guys every day, practicing with them, watching their performance, really evaluating, I do think that they're on this kind of ascension. We had a tough night Saturday night, without a doubt, but there was a lot of stuff in there where you say, you're playing solid football, you're giving up some of these plays. We have to get that straightened out. That would be the big thing. We've had a chance this week, which is great, is to really just look at us. Not have to worry about a game plan for Saturday, not have to worry about stopping a certain opponent's plays. And it's been a good exercise. Monday, Tuesday, and now today we're in there doing it. And you know what? I think we're getting close and just in the nick of time because we need to go out and play really good defense down the stretch if we're going to accomplish the goals that we set out for at the beginning of the year.
Left, front row left. Bill?
Greg, I guess you maybe touched on some of this, but you've talked a lot about the inexperience, the youth on this defense. Looking back through these, it's 8 games now, is it possible you put too much on a group of young defenders? Like is the scheme, can the scheme you've played be confusing to young guys who are still trying to feel their way through it?
You always got to look in the mirror first. I've purposely not done that, so other people may have said we're young, or I've tried not to really say that very much.
You said the other day someone asked you about, like the same thing somebody asked you about, you said you wished you could give them experience.
That's true, yeah. But that doesn't mean we're young. It just means I wish they had more plays under their belt. Because I don't like, at Ohio State, young is good because that means that old just went to the league early and guys are moving along at a good clip. We need to get guys plays, and when you log plays, things happen easier for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, I'm used to it. I've run this play. So, when you talk about an up alignment in first and second down, that takes away maybe from an off alignment in first and second down. So maybe that was a chance to get 2 more repetitions at something, but now they're 2 different things. That would be, as I evaluated us in since the game, step back and look not just at Purdue, but at the whole season. How can we help them? That's our job. Is how can we best put these guys in position to make a play, to do their job. And, I look in the mirror and then I ask our assistant coaches to look in the mirror and say, where are we not doing the very best for them? And then we also have to look at, when we look at the plays, because we watch not just the Purdue game, we watch the plays from the whole season. It can be scheme. It can be one-on-one battles, right? The other team's on scholarship too and got licked. Or it can be a mental error. And when the mental errors come, scheme is we did a bad job putting them in position. One-on-one, that happens. Mental errors, why does that happen? That's kind of the question. And that hasn't really been the big issue. Mental errors have not been. Up until last week, we've been one of the best tackling teams in America. We missed 20 tackles last week. And we haven't missed 20 tackles since we've been here. So that's, you say, what are you working on? This week that became an emphasis where it really wasn't an alarming issue. We were in the single digits all the time and sometimes in the low single digits. And that's what you look at as a coordinator. You want to make sure that your team is tackling at that level of efficiency. And for whatever reason, let's give our opponents some credit, but for whatever reason, we tackled as poorly as we've tackled, at least in my tenure here. So there's a whole bunch of things, and this week has been a great week. Yesterday's practice was great to work on certain things. And, it's week, 7-1, so it's 8 games in. You're not going to wholesale change your schemes, and nor should we. But there's things we can tweak to help them. There's an opportunity to talk with your guys, right, where there's not this impending, you got to get ready for the game, and to talk as a staff. And that we did Monday. We spent a really good day Monday and yesterday looking at ourselves, not worrying about anybody else, but just what are we doing, how can we help?
And so, the pregame, I think a lot of people would say, maybe you would say, but if you look at that offense through 3 quarters, I think they had 21 points, 300-something yards, were not very good on third down. I think that's a pretty solid performance against that team. Fourth quarter was obviously different. Just what did you sense from your guys in the fourth quarter of that game?
Well, I would agree with that. Right up until we make a critical error, 1:51 left in the second quarter, it's 7-3. They get the ball back right before the half. We make a critical error on the first play. And we know they're going to run the ball. We call a run call. We just don't execute it real well. And now they get I think it was a 19-yard gain. And as a coach, I've been there many times, especially at Rutgers when you're playing a highly ranked team and you're winning the game. All right, it's 7-3. I can go into the halftime, 7-3 over Ohio State. Where do I sign? Well, then you pop the 19-yard run, and now they're into a full-fledged 2-minute drill. And that got us to be 14-3, right, when we give up the fake field goal and then they score a touchdown. Like you mentioned, first half they're 1 for 7 and third down. So we're playing solid football. I'm not saying we're not going to cover off it, but we're playing solid. And then the fourth quarter really got away from us. And I don't, that's one of the things that I really spent some time with our players on is, what do you think occurred here? Because that's not like us. We may give up a big play or we may do something, but a lot of those missed tackles occurred. Not all of them, but I'd say half of them occurred in that fourth quarter. So definitely examined it. And again, in all those 3 phases I talked about, right? Was it scheme? Was it one-on-one? Was it a mental error? And why? And that's our job to figure it out this week. I'm not being naive to what's been put on tape and what we've done, but I feel really encouraged that we're close to getting back to playing mature defense. And mature defense to me is not only making these really good plays, but not allowing the bad plays. You can give up some plays. A 10-yard out and a 15-yard dig aren't going to kill you. As long as you line up and put a 46-yard run, that's going to hurt. Or a 79-yard pass, that's going to hurt. We need to. We're close. I really do feel that way, and as I said, just in the nick of time, because this home stretch is going to determine, this season.
Third row left, Dan.
Greg, how much of a difference does it make when you have a week like this that you can just focus on scheme in terms of not preparing for an opponent? Are there different changes you can make before that next game that you just aren't able to make those first 8 weeks?
Without a doubt. And again, like I said, we're not going to make wholesale changes because I don't think any of us believe we should. But you can tweak your scheme. You can say, how are we going to help this guy? Or we've had troubles at this position. How are we going to help that position be better? And without having a team to get ready for, you can really drill down on it. And whatever that change is, which I certainly can't share, you can really work on it in practice to help put that player in a position that the next time out he can do it better.
How much do you think this has been like scheme versus execution in terms of what the defense's struggles have been?
Oh, it's always a mix of both when you're struggling. And just when you're playing well, right? When you're dominating people, it's never just scheme or execution. It's always both. It's never any one thing that's making you great, and it's never one thing that's making you struggle. That's what makes it a little more complex than just, boop, fix it.
Front row right, Tim.
Yeah, one of those long runs, almost every one of the long runs you guys have given up, though, up the gut and stuff, I don't know if it's in zone read, options up the gut, whatever, but there's been a linebacker there, almost everyone who's been blocked out of the play, and nobody over the top, so to speak. And I'm just wondering, like, when you're talking about putting people in the right positions, do you have some problems with your linebackers getting blocked, not getting off blocks, et cetera? Has that been one of the, I know it's not every play, but one big run makes up for 5 plays.
Now, again, we missed 20 tackles, so
Yeah.
that's going to, anytime that happens, I haven't had that, I can't even tell you the last time I had that, so, at any place.
But is that part of the scheme you're talking about?
But, no, I actually, I get the sense that people are on the linebacker. I actually think the linebackers have played consistently. I think when the ball does break, we haven't gotten it on the ground always, and that's our job. And there's one glaring run from the game where, we didn't quite rotate the way we were supposed to. And people say, well, he's right there. Well, he's not supposed to be right there. He's supposed to be in the back. So maybe we wouldn't have gotten it down for a 5-yard gain, but we should get it down for a 15-yard gain. And
You're talking about that first touchdown run. I mean,
no, there's one later in the game.
42-yarder.
One later in the game.
Well, 42-yarder, y'all rotated the safety. So
The what?
the 42-yarder safety rolled, I think it was Isaiah Pryor rolled up onto the line of scrimmage. I think they might have had more in motion or something because y'all were shooting him more on occasion. And it did look like Fuller got to a spot in the backside because after he got past Malik, I think in the middle he was gone. And
Yeah, and Sean was in the game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, not to get into particular plays, but we have to make sure that when teams that do all this stuff, when we adjust, that we get to the right position on the fly. And again, when you've done it, like when you watch Jordan Fuller, he knows how important it is to get to the spot. When you haven't done it a ton and you do it, I'm going there, I'm on my way. No, you have to get there because it changes the angles of everything else. Those are little things that I feel like I said, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. I see it in practice where it's actually being done exactly right. There's this thing called the pressure of the game that can make a player do something that he hadn't done in practice, and that's where you got to take it from the practice field to the game field, and we're getting really close to doing that. And I think as we log more reps at doing our scheme, that our guys are getting closer to doing it consistently. And that's how you play, that's how you have 67% of your first, second downs are efficient plays, 3 yards or less gain. So you look at it and say, wow, if you do that, you're supposed to win. But it doesn't address the other 11 plays that were, 23, 26, 49, 33. Those plays are the ones that are killing us. But I think we're closer, and I'm encouraged by that. But until we do it, it's just a thought. We got to make it happen.
Nick Bosa's gone for good. Are you seeing Chase Young sort of step up, specifically him, and sort of become that big stick? Does he still have a ways to go? But just what's your impression of what he's kind of bringing to the fore right now?
Well, I think even before Nick got injured, I thought Chase was playing at a high level. He's a guy that isn't had a ton of reps, so he's learning as he goes as well. But he's physically very gifted and has made some really good things happen out there on the field. As we can make that, again, part of the bigger picture, if we can make that happen more consistently, watch out, because he is, he's a special athlete. The thing with Nick, when you had Nick, is Nick did what he was supposed to do, and he did it very well, almost every time. So that's the aim as you develop it. Nick didn't do that when he was Chase's level of experience. So, we're chasing that for sure, and we'll get there.
One of the quickie, Greg, the Rondale Moore play where he comes off, whatever, I think Isaiah had a shot at him on the sidelines, but when you look back on that and you ask players, did some players pull up because he was so close to the sideline? If you understand what I'm saying, from a don't want to get the late hit kind of thing, what was sort of the explanation there?
Well, there might be some of that, but you can't. That's the name of the game, and it's relentlessly finishing every play. That's what we do around here, 4 to 6, A to B plus 2. Unfortunately, that didn't happen on that play. And like I said, I think it was play 65, or play 67 to play 75, everything unwound.
We're last questions right here from Doug, because I got to get Coach Day in here as well. Doug, go ahead.
Greg, you said you're probably not going to do a huge change to your scheme in the middle of the season. how much of the big plays that you guys have given up have come because you are a man team and dedicated to that? And if that's the case and big plays are an issue, why wouldn't you think about, let's go away from that and maybe play mixed coverages more or do some other things so we're not giving up big plays in man coverage?
Well, in the RPO world, which we live in now, you need to be at some degree man, because if you don't, there's too much space, they pull the ball out and throw it. So we traditionally around here have been a man team, whether it was man quarters or man single high. We have played more zone probably this year than we have in the past. Can we play more of it? Sure we can. And might that aid and assist some guys that are right now maybe not ready to play 60, 70 snaps a man a game, without a doubt. That's all part of what we're talking about when we say tweaking what we're doing. But to say that you're going to come out and see a Tampa 2 zone team 60 plays a game, that won't happen. That's not, and we don't want it to happen here. So it's more tweaking than say, are we going to become a zone team every down? The answer is no. We're not going to do that. Can we do some more of it in some creative ways? I think the answer is yes.
And I know you talked about last week that linebackers, their first responsibility is to stop the run, and that seemed to be some of the reason for having the linebackers up in the gaps like that. Was there something else? Did you feel like the defensive line needed that help from linebackers? Because there have been times in different defenses at Ohio State in the past when linebackers seem to be much more read and react, diagnose the play, and go make a play, not up like that. What was it that you saw that you thought, yeah, we need to do this with the linebackers?
Well, in the era of zone football, zone read, RPO football, when you put a linebacker up in a gap, it takes double teams off your defensive line immediately. And with a talented defensive line, that gives you an opportunity to make plays in the backfield, and that's occurred. The thing that, when people say linebackers, if you look, other than third down, when exotic pressures and things like that, which everybody in America does with the linebackers up, we would have one, if we had a linebacker up, it's one linebacker. So there's three of them, and one of them would be up in the line of scrimmage. It's not like all three linebackers are up in the line or anything like that. Like I said, last week that wasn't the case. If you look at the tape, that's not on the tape very much, other than substitution, third down. So we kind of moved away from it because we wanted to do it, but quite frankly, we didn't do it as well as we thought we were going to do it. It wasn't as comfortable as I thought it would be, and we thought it would be for our guys. It appeared that way in spring ball, it appeared that way in summer camp, but it didn't come to fruition in the games. So we've kind of moved away. There's still some calls we'll do it in, but not nearly as many as, in week maybe 1 through 5 or 6. But we've backed away from it already. But that doesn't mean it's not going to show up either. It'll be there sometimes, just not at the level that it was earlier in the season.